Whenever Nintendo has a very successful console, they usually follow it up with a sequel console of some kind to ensure they make bank. Most of the time. These consoles strive to be an improvement from the original, however in some cases the original brought more to the table, or was better in some ways. So in this video I want to compare Nintendo consoles to their sequel counterparts to see which is better. Then we'll tally them up at the end to see which type is better. The first sequel console was the SNES, following up on the immense 61 million units of the SNES. And compared to that console, I think this one beats it no doubt at all. The controller now has more buttons and is so much more comfortable to hold compared to the sharp angular corners of the regular NES controllers. And I think the games are a big touch above. The SNES introduced series like Donkey Kong Country or F-Zero. Nintendo, please bring back F-Zero on Switch 2, please, this is the perfect opportunity. There are also even better entries than already existing franchises. Mario got the first Mario Kart and Super Mario World, which is the best out of the main 4 Super Mario Bros. Games. And yes, this game is marketed as Super Mario Bros. 4. And something funny is that not even the Super Mario Bros. Games can carry the NES, since they're here on the NES, SNES via Super Mario All-Stars. Zelda and Kirby also got great games in this period, such as A Link to the Past, and for Kirby we got the Dreamland games, and Kirby's Dream Course. Overall, games were thriving on the SNES, so this was a massive improvement compared to the original. SNES obviously wins here. Now, a trend here that you'll notice in a second is that I don't really take backwards compatibility into account, because that would basically result in all of these consoles being better, so I'm only going to look at their games and features. Starting here with the Game Boy versus the Game Boy Color. The Game Boy Color released in 1998 and added color and 3 times the power. This sounds much better on paper, but then you'll notice that the Game Boy has a lot of better things, and I think that console is better in some ways. Sure, the Game Boy Color has some great titles, but you'll notice that there were just a lot of deluxe ports of regular Game Boy games. So that's where Nintendo's obsession with deluxe ports came from. The Game Boy has some bangers such as Mario Land 2, Pokemon Red and Blue, Kirby, Link's Awakening, and more. The Game Boy had 3 times as many years in its lifespan, which could be a big reason as to why there were so little games on the Game Boy Color. It only had 3 years to live. Although I still have to give points to the Game Boy Color, as it does have much more, or as a console, it is lighter and it obviously adds color, which is definitely major, but because of the games, I just have to give the edge towards the original Game Boy. Now we have the Game Boy Color versus the Game Boy Advance, and it's obvious who wins here. The Game Boy Advance added the L and R buttons and had major improvements in the games. Instead of being 8-bit, the graphics are now 16-bit, which makes them look so much better, and they have space to breathe, so everything isn't crunched up. Compared to the mid-library of games on the Game Boy Color, we have absolute gems on the Game Boy Advance. We got Mario and Luigi, the Mario Advance games, Kirby and the Amazing Mirror, and the Minish Cap. The Game Boy Advance here wins with absolutely no doubt. Now we have a very difficult one, which is the DS versus the 3DS. Both have excellent features, so let's go through both of them first. The DS introduced the dual screen mechanic, the touch screen, and 2 extra buttons. There were also a lot of built-in features such as download, play, or PictoChat that were very nice in my opinion. The 3DS, with all the previous console features, also carries over download, play, and PictoChat in the form of game notes. It also added the circle pad in the 3D, which is a nice touch. However, like I said in my last video, they ditched it not even halfway through the console's lifespan. This is the first sequel console to have a home screen, so there is now more to compare to than just the games. One major plus is that this console had an eShop that supports digital games, which is a huge plus. There's also custom themes, which I think is amazing. Now let's talk games. The DS had many classics such as New Super Mario Bros., Tetris DS, and Sonic Rush. The 3DS I feel like is still good, however I feel like the games didn't feel the same level of enjoyment, and there are a lot more shovelware games included. However, the 3DS did have Virtual Console, which was something that let you play past the games, which I think boosts it way up. This combined with the other nice features I mentioned earlier, I think the 3DS barely wins here. Now we have the Wii versus the Wii U, which is a very difficult choice here. So just like the DS and 3DS, let's see which each console added. The Wii added enemies and created the Wiimote, which supported motion controls, and is the reason this god-awful piece of trash exists. The Wii U, on the other hand, had the Wii U gamepad and still has support for those old Wiimotes. Now, the discussion of games comes to mind, and besides the backwards compatibility on the Wii U, this is tough. The Wii has got some legendary classics like Mario Kart Wii, Mario Galaxy, and Twilight Princess. But yet again on the Wii U, we got games like Mario 3D World, Mario Maker, Wind Waker HD, and a new IP in the form of Splatoon. However, there is somehow even more shovelware than the Wii, and that's certainly saying something. Both of these consoles are fantastic, but I think I'm gonna give a slight edge to the Wii just for the amazing games alone. In total, it seems like that most of the sequel consoles are better, which isn't really a shock, but the difference between the originals and the sequels is certainly an interesting topic. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I had a lot of fun making it, and if you guys want to support the channel, then please subscribe and share this video to let the algorithm know about my content. Alright, bye.